guys? What's going on? Hello.
How are you?
I'm really good. How are you guys? Good.
So tell us, is there something coming up in this last episode, that you can't wait for the fans to see?
Yeah. Two things. It's each episode that Lyndon directed and that Posey directed. It's episode 13 and 14. Let me just prefix it with Mason's always been the happy-go-lucky guy. He's always been the guy that can see the positive no matter how dark things get. But it's going to be great to see those challenges actually resurface and see how he deals with them, because there's some very intense, I hate saying that word because it's my catchphrase, but there's been very intense moments that he's going to experience, and he's going to respond in a way that I haven't seen Mason respond. So I think that's it's going to be really cool to see. Yeah.
What do you have in common?
Oh man, friendship, how he values it, how he loves his friends. You know, that's why he does the things he does for his friends. It's not just because they're cool. Like he truly loves the people he's around, and that's something that I do and I aspire to grow into. I wish I was as brave as him. I say this all the time, but when I really, really, really think of it, like, I would not do half of the things that he does. If most of the danger was real, like running into it or staying in the middle, not moving away, not, all of that stuff, I admire the bravery for his friends. It's because of how much he loves his friend. So yeah.
What can you tease about more of the friendship dynamic between him and Liam in this last run?
Right. Well, the way I see this final season with Mason and Liam is, you know how Scott and Styles, they got into a groove of being in the pack and being on missions and accomplishing things. They became partners as much as they were best friends, and that's something that I see Mason and Liam doing. It's even though they make each other laugh and they're good friends, they've now become like partners, and it's more so like mission oriented, and I like that. It's going to be really cool to see that.
If you could describe the final season in one word, what word would it be?
Fear. That's the theme of it. Yeah, because it's one of those things where everyone responds to fear differently, and that's what's gonna be cool to see. Because not everyone cowers, not everyone freezes, not everyone fights, and everyone has their own way of expressing that, and that's a big theme of the show, and it's very relevant to some of the things that are going on today.
So yesterday, you were talking about running with an actual wolf.
Yeah.
Can you talk about it?
Yeah. So I read in the script that the episode where Mason finds out that Liam's a wolf, that there was an actual wolf, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be CGI or something. Like I don't know. I didn't think that there was gonna be a wolf. Like I just kind of read past it. And then I got to set, and I was like, I should have been more prepared. But then I was like, yo, that's a wolf. Because, dogs, they sit at a much lower height than wolves are, and wolves are burly, and, their fur is, it's not fur, it's, crisp, burnt, wolf hair. It's crazy. And actually, I remember saying in my head, I love my job. Because how often can you do that? One day you're running from a wolf, next day you got, a weird prosthetic in your neck, and there's just a lot of crazy things that I got privileged to do. So that was great. It was fun. Scary though.
Yeah,
I was not acting.
Scary.
Actually, it's funny because they had to slow us down. While we were running, because the wolf was right behind us, we were running too fast. They're just slow down. No. And the crazy part was Dylan had to stand still, because if you remember, he stops and then he turns around and he growls. But the wolf, it's not trained to just run and then stop. So the wolf actually had to run right past Dylan. So he had to stop, turn around, and the wolf is headed towards him and runs right past him. I couldn't even look at that. I could not even look at that. So the wolf is snarling while it's running. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So with a show like this, your character, is, I don't know, maybe the everyman, the person.
Yeah.
All of us are going to be more invested in the show.
Yeah.
Can you talk about playing that a little bit?
Yeah, it's actually it's a good point, because another thing, the purpose that Mason serves is he's like the connection for the audience, because if you're around all these people that find what's going on very normal, it's easy for the audience to kind of just think that it's normal. But having someone that's human that kind of reminds the audience like how crazy this is, I think that's a good way for the audience to like remember that like this is not just like an everyday danger, this is serious. And so he's like that connection point, just being normal. He's relatable in that sense.
If you could have any of the abilities of anyone of the characters, what would it be and why?
I like the ability to turn into a wolf, not a werewolf, like a wolf, and like, you know, and then come back to a human. I'd want to do that. That'd be dope. Yeah, I don't know. Do all werewolves do that? Yeah. No, I think you have to be like an alpha. I don't know my own show. You have to be born. I'd want that.
And then you can change into a wolf. But then does Derek have to be tall?
Yeah, that's what I remember, like a certain level.
Yeah. Watching Tyler and when he directs, you seem like a pretty creative person. Would that be something you'd be interested in trying?
You know, I developed a respect for that, because any actor that just, oh yeah, I want to direct, and they don't know what they're talking about, they don't know what they're saying. Directing is not just like, oh yeah, it'd be cool, do that there, do that there. Directing is knowing the lighting, knowing how the scene is going to play out before anyone's even on set. It's so much. It's all on them. They're the front runners. They're the sailboat. You know, like it's all of that. And so I first have a respect for it, and I realized how much there is to learn. But yeah, I would love to do it because there's ideas that I have that being a director would most be able to produce those ideas, but it's not something that I just like, oh, I want to do. It's not like rocket science. You can just, I want to rocket science. Like you have to learn that stuff first. So yeah, I have a respect for it. They did their thing. Like Posey showed up, and so did Lyndon, and yeah, I'm proud of them, and it inspired me. Yeah.
What was the experience like with getting to work with all the returning actors? Because you've obviously not worked with them before.
I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't.
Oh,
no.
no.
I just got to I didn't even get to see them on set. It's because it's like my character happened to be doing a separate mission while Scott and the other pack were reuniting. It was my character doing something which I physically couldn't even be in the same place they were filming.
Scammed you.
They scammed me. But no, it's cool. I got to meet Colton, it was my first time meeting him, which was cool. I met a couple of the other people, like Jeff has parties where we go watch the show, and so I got to meet them through that, but it would have been great to work with them. Yeah, that's always my dream, to one-on-one with every single one of the OG Teen Wolf characters. That would have been cool.
Maybe in the future.
Hopefully, yeah. That'd be cool.
Do you have a favorite scene that you shot?
Yeah. It actually doesn't have, it's not because of me or what I performed, it's because of Sprayberry. There's a scene, well, you guys already saw the trailer, when they pulled him up and it was all blood on his nose. That was a scene. There was no acting involved in that. I remember I was really in it. I mean, I'm really in it in all of them, but that was one where I actually forgot I was acting, and it was awesome. Because Dylan, he did a very good job. It was a very emotional scene, you know, seeing your friend get hurt like that. It felt real, yeah.
So you said that this season, if you described it in one word, it would be fear. What do you think the message of our show is about how to deal with it?
Right. Well, like I said, it's very relevant, and without giving too much away, like I said, people respond to fear in a very negative way. Most of the time, they result to doing things that they wouldn't normally do. And I think it's one thing if you can experience the feelings of fear, but don't let it change you. Don't let it make you do something outside of your character. Because once you do that act, you're going to have to live with that. And that's just what I pull from it. I think very deeply about it, but the show is going to show some of those elements of that. And I think just as people, we all get scared, but let's not compromise ourselves because we're scared of something. It's more so the time to get together rather than divide and do crazy things.
I feel like they keep telling us to wrap it up, but then they're never here to come.
Yeah, man, do your thing. If you guys have more questions, I mean, I don't care.
What else can you
What up?
do?
Lots of death. That's always up.
Do you think you want to keep working in this genre? Are there other genres that you're interested
Yeah,
in?
that's interesting that you say that because it's a dream of mine, and I plan to accomplish this. But to be a superhero, super-powered individual of some sort. So yeah, I would love it. Like the fact that I got to play the Beast, even though I didn't go through any makeup, it was CGI. That idea alone let me know like this is something I want to do because I've done an action film, and from that moment on, I was like, this is awesome. Like I get to do the thing that I watch. Like when I watch action films, I've actually said I want to do that, and I'm doing that at a young age. So I would love for that to continue, you know. Anything action-y, something supernatural and superpowers, I'd love.
You're at the right place.
Yeah, definitely.
Good network.
Yes.
Right. Who's your favorite superhero?
Here we
Oh,
go.
Nightcrawler. He's a guy who teleports. But like I really like him because he started off teleporting only to where he can see, and then he figured out how to teleport anywhere. And that's just like if you really think of it, that you're like invincible. Like I would love to do that. It's cool. Anywhere.
Scary kind of not having anything on this and you have stuff set up.
Yeah, that's I think one thing that is a lesson in itself. You know, being young and being I've been working since I was like a kid, and most kids, when they're kids, they think of kid things. They don't think of their next job or, supporting or anything. They don't think of that. So when a show ends, of course, that thought, you have to, there's a pressure, but that pressure's not bad. It's supposed to motivate you to go after. So yeah, you do sense those feelings like, oh man, the job's over. But it's not, it's always, there's the next one. It's just got to stay in it, stay positive. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're here
Thank you
now.
guys.